This one, my friend used to have a halls of residence up in Edinburgh, which looked a bit like the Panopticon, which was an idea by Bentham, which I then decided, oh, I'm going to think about that. And then, so this one is called Panopticonundrum. So, of concepts that cast shadows long, there's quite a few among the throng. The collected works of Cheech and Chong, the finer points of Falun Gong, the archetypes set out by Jung, why Cisco fetishised the thong, the exact nature of friendship between tiny planets Bing and Bong. But within this poem we'll go on to ponder the panopticon. Can this Benthamite structure still prove instructive, or is the motif no longer productive? A construct redundant and largely reductive? Is it only an image remaining seductive for incurably eager armchair Foucauldians who gaspingly harp about its vaunted podium? Is this a stance to be met with opprobrium, or for intellects incontinent a conceptual Imodium? The fact this piece has even been written may hint just a little at my supposition. So where lies the significance of his visage of omniscience? First, a physical solution to subdue institutions and ensure the execution of a smoother retribution. One to curb the constitution of those aimed at dissolution with the threat of being watched, a fact of a prosecution that ensured the diminution of attempts at revolution. With the construction concentric feigning constant attention, diminished recidivist criminal tension, did Bentham intend his brother's invention to bend the conventions not just of detention? Are the utilitarian ends that he mentioned served by the concept's creeping extension into the realm of the self's reinvention? Where? Beyond the cylindrical structure as built, the scintilla of cynical systems instilled sees glycosylated censure infect one's own will, as dissident missives are silently stilled, dismiss all illicit intentions of frills, vicissitudes dissipate, governed until disintegrative apparatus are nil. Internalized mechanisms have their fill, you've paid at the entrance, you've swallowed your pills, you've made your confessions, confronted your ills, you've listed transgressions, you've mopped up your spills. The vertiginous scope of surveillance instills, the paranoid vision militantly drilled, solidifies cyclical scenes that cavil. With any reflections now neatly distilled to miniature sessions of crippling guilt. In time you won't wonder as you become skilled in clipping the wings of dissent and its ilk. Belittling difference implicitly kills a resistant impetus being fulfilled. Diminishing quizzical quibbles you shield for the quickening censure of keyboard and quill. Unwittingly tending the system's tendrils, extending the pretense it's grist for the mill. But the benefits never quite seem to be real. Deficit grows correlative to the zeal with which you impress the strength of appeal. What fragments of self do we take as concealed, and what the performance that's only revealed in light of the stare of the imagined gaze, the peepers that creep in unknowable haze? Are we all Ariadnes in search of a maze, or just scrambling mannequins grasping for ways to obtain the unreachable through our displays? Perhaps we're players in perceptible scenes, the fleshly extension of portable screens, descrying designs of inscrutable means, whilst mindlessly scrolling, patrolling the reams of pornography, cat pictures and memes, as data is mined and every click noted and ratings assigned, approved and upvoted. We traverse always viewed in this gamified life, validate being seen by acquiring likes. Almost none are immune to the dopamine spikes of what we perceive to be positive sight. But what of attrition, the strife and perdition, that shadowy side of the human condition? Anonymity grants an implicit permission to savagely dismiss another's position, or by the same token to glorify what will always ineluctably be what we're not. In our aspirant fashions we sell ourselves short, all our info coordinates ripe to be bought as targeted ads and consumerist fads purport to dispel what is making us sad. The disorderly courting of hollow appeal warps ordinary stories to imagined ideals. Do we see in ourselves an implied evanescence if we fail in the recording of all possible progressions? Is a deliquescence of personal into a public presence, a force for self-invention or another veiled suppression, which coalesces with obsession for curation of impressions that express a professed message that's fallacious in its essence? All the pomp and puff indicative of substanceless excrescence, or the litmus test for zest and a life lived in effervescence? Will humanity's concrescence with technology's accessions offer hope and revivescence, or just further our depressions? Perhaps it's too imponderably nebulous to see, and Jez and Michelle cannot tell us what they think might be. Any hot take on the optics may prove myopic, it is true. But as you ogle all proposals, remember nothing's out of view.
Nice.